G'day guys, Jack and Ninja here. Today we're going to be having a look at Ninja's Infraspinatus. So this is one of the muscles that's part of the rotator cuff. It sits on there, if you can just turn around for me a bit there, Ninja. It sits on the back of the shoulder blade here. And a lot of the time when I find that people who come in with issues with this muscle, they might say that they've got pain in the back of the shoulder. There might be some difficulty with extension through the shoulder or things like that. But a lot of the time, the symptoms are more, that I see more commonly, like weakness or referral pain down through the tricep, maybe even a bit of nerve pain all the way into the elbow, sometimes all the way to the hand, but most commonly in the upper arm. Difficulty bringing their arm up above their head, but that's not pain on the top of the shoulder, or perhaps they're feeling a bit sore when they're lying on their side at night time, or those kinds of things. So first of all, I'm just going to quickly show you how we would assess to see if infraspinatus is involved. So if you turn back towards the camera, please, Ninja. Yep, that's the way. So if I was going to assess this on Ninja, say he had one of these issues, one of the first things I would do would be kind of check to see if there is actually any problem with the movement in this. So if you can raise so actually just from there to begin with, so elbow bent at 90 degrees, can you just rotate your hand out as far as you can? Great. So yeah, that's good. So keep it. So as you can see, Ninja's keeping his elbow pretty close to his torso, and he's got pretty good range there. He's almost all the way out at 90 degrees from the front of his body. If there was any problems there, he might, be feeling a bit tight in the back of the shoulder. Perhaps he gets some pinching. He actually might even have some pain in the front of his shoulder if that was the case. But that's the first one. And the other one is, if that's all good, I might go to doing the same movement here, but at 90 degrees. So if you can just rotate your hand upwards, great. And so, you might see some, either like the shoulder girdle really rolling forward, you might only get to about there. Perhaps he'd, again, be feeling some pain in the back, or he might have some kind of associated pain somewhere during that movement in the front of the shoulder through what looks like the deltoid or through the tricep, perhaps. But let's get stuck into some treatment, Ninja, because, like I said, this can be the kind of muscle that when it's playing up gives you a whole bunch of different issues. So it can be a little bit hard to tell too. It can be a little bit of detective work associated with this one. But you tend to know pretty much straight away if there is something going on there, because so we're looking at this area here. You can find it by you can find the scapula. So even see, I don't know if you guys heard Ninja there. Yeah. Even just doing that, even just finding where his shoulder blade is, he's making some noises. That's showing me there's some tenderness there, and that's showing me that there's probably something going on here. Even in someone like Ninja, it's probably more a bit of maintenance. Make sure his shoulder doesn't play up with anything. But it tends to be pretty tender, pretty sensitive, and can send some pretty crazy referrals through the arm as we're working on it. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to start up at just underneath the scapular spine, which runs all the way along here. So I'm just going to start by sinking in with my thumb. And it's a funny muscle because all the fibers kind of converge and wrap around the front of the humerus to insert almost next to the biceps tendon, all the way at the front, which is what facilitates it doing that kind of opening movement, that external rotation. But because all these fibers converge, as we get closer and closer to the musculotendinous junction, we tend to find more and more tension. And it's, again, quite interestingly, there can be certain parts of the muscle, like as I'm working through here, there might be nothing at all going on for Ninja up there, but then I might come down, say a bit further down towards the inferior angle, and his legs are flailing on the table, and there's all kinds of things going on very, very quickly. We start to get twitches and things like that. So even though the fibers are relatively close together, you can get different areas of tension showing up. Yeah, mate. And you can feel the lines. You can feel the lines of tension through those fibers really, really clearly when you're working on them. It gets really springy, really jacked up. So actually this is gonna suck for a little bit, Ninja. I'm just gonna roll over this. If you can come in and have a look at that. You can see that as I'm rolling over it. That's part of Ninja's infraspinatus. Yeah. That's quite tight. And so we just want to find those points of particular tension, particular tenderness, and really focus on them. And sometimes, even with a really little bit of pressure, this can go from like a 2 to a 10 really, really quickly. So we want to find those little spots, and then we want to just really let them melt. Yeah, so give you a slight movement there. Are you feeling any referral pain, Ninja, or is that just pretty gnarly on the spot?
Right now it's just on the spot, but yeah, then when you're moving, there was referrals.
Yeah.
Sort of back to the spine, up towards the head a bit. Just, yeah.
There you go. Even in the other direction as well.
A bit wild, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty, can be a pretty nasty muscle. But this is the infraspinatus as well as being part of the rotator cuff. It's part of the posterior arm line, the myofascial chain that runs from the back of your hand all the way up through your traps and kind of connects this whole region of your body together. So it can go into neck and all that kind of thing as well. Sorry, I'm putting my hands in your way there, mate.
Yes. Oh.
So yeah, we've got another little spot in there. Yeah, and one thing I really love when I'm doing work on anywhere that, especially places that are particularly stubborn, is getting a little bit of dynamic work in there as well, getting a bit of active release to help speed up and smooth out that process, but also remind the muscles what it's like to be moving without pain by temporarily amplifying it, of course. So what I'm going to get you to do, Ninja, I'm just going to use my hand as a bit of a base there. If you can do that rotation movement again. Boom, there we go, and coming back in. So I'm just going to maintain my pressure on that muscle. There we go. In fact, I might even need to get both thumbs on that. There we go.
You want me to move?
Yep, just rotate your arm. Yeah, that's good, man. Just out like that, really good, and then coming back in. And so that rotation's coming from his shoulder as well. Really good, man. As we really just pin into some of those spots. And then, and as we work on this as well, it's just a matter of making sure we clean out the whole muscle, making sure we get everything nice and loose. Going through all those fibers, being really specific and detailed. You can take a rest there, Ninj. And making sure that we really address this whole area, a couple of lines at a time, maybe even a bit of a palm over the top to just open things up and get it all stretching out and moving together. And other than that, if there's still some pain in the front of the shoulder or there's anything else going on, we might come in and just do a little bit through the front as well. So we want to try and find that insertion point, which is around underneath here, around the bicipital groove. And then we just land straight on that. Pretty close to the biceps tendon. But yeah, because if we're getting some of that referral into the deltoid or into the front of the arm, we want to try and make sure that we're addressing any of that too. As I was doing this, I'd be going through and reassessing as we go as well, make sure that we're moving in the right direction and see if that pain is moving more from here to here, if the pain here is reducing at all, and just kind of checking our progress as we go. But we can also work on the other end as well, going to that insertion point and getting a bit of additional movement through the front of the shoulder as well. So if you are suffering from shoulder pain, whether it's anterior or posterior, if you're having any problems with moving your arm or referral pain down your tricep or the back of your shoulder into the rest of your arm, come in and see us. It might be an infraspinatus issue. And we've got all the tools to find out what's going on for you and get it sorted out. Just come on down and treat yourself.
Get it done.
Get it done.